Dandruff is frustrating, those white flakes that get all over the place. And I know this firsthand because I have dandruff. Together we're going to explore why someone develops dandruff and what treatment options you're going to best benefit from. As a hair loss surgeon, you could imagine that I see a lot of patients who have dandruff. And as someone who has dandruff, I know it's frustrating, okay? Because my dandruff goes through cycles. There are times when my scalp is so damn dry, so itchy, and so damn flaky. These white flakes get all over my beautiful scrubs, my beautiful sweaters, and it could just be flat out embarrassing. So why does this happen? Well, there's a yeast known as Malassezia, and Malassezia loves to feed on oily environments. Now, if you're someone who has dandruff, I always say you have to wash your hair more frequently. In fact, I wash my hair every single day. And I scrub my scalp. That's important because we have to reduce the oily environment. Now, that is not the only cause, okay? The infrequent washing of your scalp. Hormones play a role. Genetics play a role. My father has dandruff, has had dandruff his entire life, and now, unfortunately, I also have dandruff. Also, you have to consider what we eat. So if you eat sugary diets, that could be contributing. And stress. Stress is a major factor, and also whether you live in dry environments. So during the cold seasons, that's when my dandruff really tends to flare. And if you happen to live in warmer climates around the country, around the world, that could also be contributing to why you're developing dandruff. Now, in some cases, dandruff can become inflammatory, and then it's known as seborrheic dermatitis. This is where you get these yellowish, greasy flakes on your eyebrows, behind your ear, and your scalp can become inflammatory, red. But we also have to rule out another scalp condition known as psoriasis, because sometimes there's an overlay with seborrheic dermatitis. Psoriasis has silver-like patches throughout your scalp. Now, the reason we have to distinguish them is because the treatment regimens are different for these two different conditions. We're going to focus on dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis in this video, but in a future video, we will absolutely explore how you address psoriasis of the scalp. Now we're going to get to treatments, and the first thing I want to emphasize is that if you do have dandruff, you need to wash your scalp more frequently. Now, I tell my patients that you should wash your scalp every single day, but I know that's not practical for everyone because different people have different hairstyles. But I'm just going to emphasize again, the more you wash, the better it's going to be, especially if you have dandruff. Now we're going to talk about different shampoos that are ideal for addressing dandruff. With all of these shampoos, it's critically important that when you apply them to your scalp and you rub them in, that you leave the shampoos in for 3 to 5 minutes. Otherwise, these shampoos will not be effective. Again, these shampoos are not treatments for your hair. They're treatments to address your scalp. Now, if you want to start treating your dandruff today, my recommendation is to start with a non-prescription shampoo. And that's because you can get it over the counter at your local pharmacy, convenience store, or supermarket. It's not going to be as effective as a prescription shampoo, which we're going to talk about later on, but it's a great place to start. Now, you can start with Head & Shoulder. This has zinc pyrithione in it. It acts as an antifungal as well as an anti-inflammatory to the scalp. Again, it's all about decreasing the oily environment that's contributing to your dandruff. Now, something that's comparable to Head & Shoulders is Vanicream Free and Clear. Also has zinc pyrithione in it. Other shampoos you can explore include Nizoral. Nizoral has 1% ketoconazole. There's also Selsun Blue, which has selenium sulfide, 1%, and there's the option of using coal tar. It's T-gel coal tar. This is something that I used to use when I was younger. It's effective for dandruff, psoriasis, and sometimes even for eczema. Now, when it comes to the best approach to addressing your dandruff, it's with prescription shampoos. Now, with prescription shampoos, you're going to want to use these shampoos about 3 times a week, and when you apply it to your scalp, you keep it on there for about 5 minutes. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Once your dandruff calms down, you can use these dandruff shampoos as needed. You don't have to use it as frequently. Now, I would start with 2% ketoconazole shampoo. This is really effective. This is what I use in the shower. Now, if you need a prescription for this, you can access this through our teledermatology site known as Derm On Demand, and I'll leave a link below and we can get you started to use this shampoo. Now, there's also the option of using cyclopyrox or selenium sulfide 2%. Now, in some cases, your dandruff is so severe that we have to add on a corticosteroid cream to help lower the inflammation of the dandruff and get you back into the right cycle so your dandruff is not flaring as frequently. I hope that this was helpful and you have a better idea about how to treat your dandruff starting today. If you have any questions about dandruff that I've not addressed, please leave them in the comments below. And if you happen to be using any of these shampoos, they're working really well or they're not, share that experience below. It'll be helpful for the community, but it'll also be helpful for me because there's always something that I can learn. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do so because we're trying to grow our community. And as always, I'm here on your journey to help you address your hair care needs.